When it comes to remakes and sequels, viewers often have mixed reactions. Either one is considered base treachery. Given the likability and success of the original, there are those rare instances in terms of sequels when the second edition of a franchise is actually hailed as being better than the original. I could go on and on about these and other mediums. However, in this video, there is one film in particular I would like to discuss.
They're Gremlins, Kate.
Ah yes, the horror comedy classic from the 1980s that had us all avoiding public swimming pools and checking our watches frequently, to ensure that our pets didn't eat after a particular hour. Would it shock you to know that a remake of Gremlins has already been made? Released in 2017, written and directed by Ryan Belgard, Gremlins, Curse of the Mogwai is a Lovecraftian tale about a man who receives a box containing a creature who goes on a murderous rampage, and who kills everyone he sees. Unless, in the spirit of It Follows, he passes the box on to someone he loves, to continue a vicious cycle. Seen through the eyes of an entirely different director, starring a whole new cast, Curse of the Mogwai clearly strays far away from what we know and love about the original Gremlins mythos. Whatever happened to the rules? Keep them away from water. Don't get them wet. Never let them get exposed to bright lights, especially sunlight. It'll kill them. And the most important rule of all, one you must never forget: never, ever feed them after midnight. With Curse of the Mogwai being very much its own thing, having little, if not nothing to do with the first two movies, and the aesthetic of the Gremlins making them look more like Cthulhu than actual gremlins, this film may not be well received by those who grew up watching Gremlins in the 80s and 90s. Some of the sardonic humor and slapstick satire that made both of the original Gremlins movies so great may get lost in translation. I suspect that millennials will love Curse of the Mogwai because it gives them the gore and the suspense that they so hungrily crave. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with adding a new twist onto an old idea. But depending on who your audience is, it may just be too much of a new twist onto an old idea. And what about that old idea? What more could Gremlins' original director Joe Dante have to say after Gremlins: The New Batch was released 28 years before? How can director Joe Dante remain true to the roots of the original Gremlins while also ensuring not to rehash what we've already seen? To answer those and other questions, we must first enter into the realm of speculation. I am willing to speculate that Gremlins 3 will be somewhat of a mixed bag. What I mean by this is that Gremlins 3 will most likely take some of the darkest elements that we all remember from Gremlins 1, and then mix them up with the more comedic, more zanier aspects from Gremlins 2. Gremlins 2: The New Batch was practically a parody of itself. Seriously, this whole movie could have been a cartoon. One problem I can see with combining these elements is that Gremlins 3 may turn out to be a film that is unsure of itself. I hope that Gremlins 3 is enough of its own thing so that it doesn't rely too heavily on the first two films, but not too much of its own thing that we end up getting Curse of the Mogwai all over again. But it will be great seeing the old cast members back together again after all these years. Will they still be able to create a chemistry that's similar to what they had before? How will their characters be written? While these things still remain to be seen, I'm holding out hope that the collaboration between director and cast member is likely still good enough that they can convince audiences they are returning home to family. Well, that was my look into the current Gremlins remake and upcoming sequel. I am the Ranting Usher. Thank you so much for watching. Click on the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on notifications, and tell me, are you in favor of the evolution of the Gremlins franchise? Do you think a third sequel is needed? Why or why not? And if you'd like, you can leave a comment for me down below, and I look forward to seeing you next time.